You're listening to The Scrimmage with Daniel Hargrove and Justin Damashevitz.
Homer.
That was good.
That was beautiful.
I've been wanting to use that as the intro ever since I was yelling that at the top of my lungs at the last Mariners game I went to. And that was like a month ago.
Did it work?
No, he struck out.
Has he hit a homer since then?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Also, it kind of ties into the last game that Andrew and Johanna went, because they did the whole like Simba thing with that, music playing throughout the stadium for the dogs to be held up. I watched the entire video that people posted, or that the Mariners posted, and I was like, if they don't show
Pax
Andrew
was on at the very beginning of it.
Wait, was he really?
I believe so.
So maybe I missed the beginning of it, because I was like,
I
if they
saw
don't
a dog at the very beginning that I thought was Pax.
I was not in the very beginning of it. But Pax was.
Okay, I was gonna say they missed their opportunity.
So was he blocking your face?
Well, he'd be blocking everything.
No, he was down. He was like at our feet. And they had him and the person right in front of us.
Oh, so you weren't lifting him up yet?
I wasn't lifting him up yet. No, I waited for...
See, that's what I was looking for.
I was not confident that I could do that without him freaking out and me, dumping him.
Yeah.
So I actually waited for the camera guy who was right next to us to, turn around before I tried it. I was like, Hannah, should I try it? And she was like, probably not.
Wait, there was a camera guy right there, and you didn't do it?
No.
Well, he didn't want it to be on live TV, him dumping his dog on his face.
Exactly. That was the...
That would have been legendary.
90 pounds.
I know.
He's a bit wiggly.
Yeah.
Although it turns out he doesn't wiggle when I pick him up. He's just like, I don't know what's happening.
I'm so sad, because whatever would have happened, if you would have dumped your dog on live TV, that still would have been great publicity for us.
I wasn't wearing any scrimmage gear.
So? Dang it, Andrew. Okay, well, now I have to go back and watch the video again to see
Next Bark at the Park, I will. And he'll be 120 pounds.
Oh, geez. You're going to have to, do proper deadlift for him.
Nah. Well, I already had to.
Oh, it's good to be back.
Welcome back.
Been a while.
Yeah, it has been a while. Are we...
Sean O'Neill
I'm
says
Daniel.
that we're late.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know what, Sean?
That was a technical issue. There was a horrible noise coming through that sounded like, and we didn't want everyone to have to hear that. So Andrew messed around with a whole bunch of chords until he fixed it.
Yes.
So you're welcome, Sean.
Until Justin moved his phone.
No. I had been moving my phone back and forth the whole time, and mostly it wasn't making a difference.
All right.
So it is weird how our phones make that noise.
Yes.
Of the thing, of the noise thing.
Electromagnetic interference is weird.
Yes.
There's an actual term for it.
Is it EMI or EMF?
EMF is electromagnetic.
Right, that was from Sean. I forgot. Yeah, Sean did that first.
Great. Now he's going to give us a copyright strike.
You're right. Oh, man.
We'll work out a settlement.
Yeah.
We'll call the law office of Jeffrey A. Damashevitz.
No relation.
No relation. We'll work out a settlement.
Okay, let's get it going with the 2-minute drill.
Let's go. Huddle up. Gotta hurry. Hey, 2-minute situation. 44 seconds. Hand the ball to ref. Gonna do it right. 3 jet Buckeye on 1 3.
The 2-minute drill starts now.
Julio Rodriguez signed a giant, extremely confusing contract that could either be really good or the largest contract in the history of all major sports.
Wouldn't that also be really good?
Well, yeah, but I was saying
I see what he's saying.
low end of
That
it
threw me
is
off.
the worst case scenario is it's a really good contract. The best case scenario is it's the largest in history of all sports.
Yes.
Yeah.
For now.
Anyway,
So far.
Daniel, this is cool.
Yes.
How cool is it?
It's so cool. I'm so excited because, not going to lie, even with all of the rhetoric you always hear of, we want to do it for Seattle, all this stuff, and we want to be the ones to get the World Series for Seattle, and we've been saying this since we've been teenagers growing up in the organization. you still see what happens when people hit free agency and the dollar signs start to ring and you're like, oh man, are we just going to get Julio for like 5 years and then he's going to peace out? And so this, locks him in for at least like 8 years?
At
10
least
years?
8.
At least 8.
But there's team options and player options built in as well.
That could make it for like 15 or something like that. So my son could be driving by the time that this runs out. I'm so excited. Whoa. Yeah, that's weird to think
That
about.
is really weird.
Because he's barely walking. Joel Dublanko. Yet another game. Yet another game where he led the Seahawks in tackles. Justin, has he played his way onto the opening day 53-man roster, or does he have a shot at the practice squad?
The hard part is you're going from 80 to 53. So 27 guys are going to get cut.
Yeah.
And the Seahawks, knowing that they have a lack of depth at linebacker, have gotten a whole bunch of guys that play Joel's position.
Yep.
So I really honestly feel like even though he currently is second in the entire NFL in tackles during the preseason,
Oh, wow.
at 24, I think there is a legitimate possibility that he may not make the team, and it wouldn't necessarily have anything to do with his performance, but just because the area he's in on that roster has become super crowded.
Yeah.
If he does manage to play his way onto the roster, he's got a really good shot to see some actual serious playing time. Not a starter, obviously, but working his way into the lineup. And if he doesn't make the team, it honestly feels so much like the team is very intrigued. I keep seeing people use the word intrigued by him. I wouldn't be surprised at all if he gets a practice squad invite.
He's also put a lot of tape out there at this point, and the Seahawks may not be able to get him on their practice squad.
True. Daniel, ever since Abraham Toro intentionally injured Ty France, France has not quite been himself. Should Ty France take a break?
Yes, absolutely. Ty France should take a break. Why are you
Are
looking
you
at me
saying
weird?
that after he hit a home run and 3 hits with exit velocity over 100 miles an hour today?
Were they all hits, or did he have one home run?
One of them went directly to an outfielder.
Yeah, I'm still saying that.
Okay.
Because one day over the last 25 does not prove it for me. What that tells me is his guesses all worked out right this time. And a good hitter can run into 3 balls, that he gets right on. If he doesn't, then you see the grimace on his face. Every time he whiffs, you're like, ugh. The pinch hit opportunity he had in the previous night,
Ugly.
disgusting.
Ugly.
And when I saw that, that's when I was like, oh yeah, he absolutely needs a night off. So just because he had one good game, if he has another good game, maybe. I guess it's what you're seeing, but one good game doesn't show that to me, and I want him right for the playoffs.
Gotta
I
love a
agree
high
with you
exit
there.
velo, though.
Is that
Seahawks have named Geno Smith the starter. Justin, was there ever a competition, or was this Pete Carroll's plan all along? Because it sure seems like it.
I guess there's a possibility that if Drew Lock had been amazing, if he had made it so there was no possible way to not make him the starter, then it's possible there could have been a real competition. It definitely seems like the deck was stacked against him. And then in addition to that, he also got sick in the middle of the preseason with COVID and missed a preseason game. A little annoying, like Daniel, like you said earlier, off air, none of the other quarterbacks got a chance. It was just a competition between those two guys.
Yeah.
I really think Pete just wanted Geno from the start, and either he wants to be bad this year or he wants to prove that he can win with a crap quarterback.
I think he wants to prove that.
Yeah.
I think he wants to go, see, Russell, if you just do what I say, I can win with even a loser.
I keep seeing Russell's relationship with his coaches described as a quote-unquote partnership.
Yeah, it's weird.
To the point that he was running walkthroughs in practice with no coaches present. Like, he's a coach
Weird.
on this team.
Is that surprising?
I think it's more than I think most quarterbacks get.
I agree with you, but again, is that surprising?
I was surprised when I read
I'm
that
kind of
part.
surprised about that because, I've never heard of that before.
Also, this is a brand new coach that's
That's-
trying to make a
That's
name
pretty
for
much
himself.
how Peyton Manning was when he was in
Yes.
Denver.
Well, he also
That's how he was.
I would say that.
when he was in
earned it
Denver,
more.
though. You're right. When he was in Denver,
I would say that he had demonstrated that ability in the past more at that point. But I think when Russell went to Denver, I expected him to have everything that he wanted his way. Personally,
Yeah.
like.
But he was
This
traded,
is kind
so-
of what I expected to see.
That-
He was voluntarily traded, though.
So you're saying
only
that
would have he only would have accepted a trade that
he knew
wanted.
it. Okay, that's interesting.
I still felt like it was surprising.
Still
Like
kind of
you
intense.
hear
I agree that
great
it's-
quarterbacks often get that kind of partnership, but there seems to be limits to it, and also it doesn't get talked about out loud.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
agree.
Like, especially at press conferences where he's like, "Yeah, I'm running the show."
Yeah.
They got that one clip that they were playing on 710 all the time about him talking about how, I just love how we're able to work and everybody's ready to learn. And this one guy was running a play this way, and I was like, "No, man, you shouldn't do that," and changed the play. And then we got a 40-yard catch out of it, and I'm just like so excited that they're ready to learn from me. These plays suck.
I miss Russ.
I miss him so much. And yet I unfollowed him on everything because I gag every time I see him in this stupid orange.
If I could have double followed him, I would have.
I will decide if I miss him as the season goes on. Because we were not. The Seahawks were not very good last year with him.
That's true.
If they are also
Do you think that was
not
his fault?
No, I don't. But if they are roughly the same this year, and
He was also hurt for a lot. Like, remember, they were bad with Geno Smith last year.
yes, I agree. I'm just saying that I'm waiting to see if I miss him or not. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. I mean,
It is.
I think
Sean is wondering if Russ is the most obnoxious non-felon in the NFL.
Obnoxious?
I think that is due to how much Russ compared to like literally everybody else in the league.
That seems
like
possible.
there's a ton of really obnoxious people. Deshaun Watson's not a felon.
If you were
That's
doing
actually accurate.
if you were doing word association, what's the word? I mean, how long would it take you to get to obnoxious with Russ?
Pretentious would be way
Pretentious?
higher.
Pretentious
Yeah.
would be there. Yeah, I could see that.
But no, I don't know about obnoxious. You
yeah, I
have
don't
to
know
pay
about-
attention to him before you start to realize how ridiculous he
Yeah,
is.
yeah. He's weird.
Yeah, he is.
I wouldn't say like I feel like
I miss him.
I miss him. I feel like he's a weird dude. Like I don't think he does any of this thinking like the motivation that you would assume a normal person saying these things would. I think he's just kind of a weird dude. I've met a lot of weird people in my life.
And Russell Wilson is one of them.
And Russell Wilson, I think, is one of them. He's just way more successful than everybody.
Did you meet
But-
Russell Wilson?
No.
Okay.
Shut up. Let's put it this way, though. During the fantasy draft that we were all just recently in, I wasn't touching DK Metcalf or Tyler Lockett with a 10-foot pole because you was throwing the football.
I drafted Lockett.
I think
But
Lockett...
that was super late, though.
And I think Lockett might be able to do some things because he gets so wide open sometimes. But
see,
seriously.
My guess is that no matter who's throwing the ball, DK is going to get a lot of targets.
Yeah,
And
but
that's
he's
gonna
double
translate-
covered, and he's been double covered and
but
absolutely shut down previously in his career.
Receivers don't lose points for giving up interceptions. And
Yeah,
they get
but-
points for catches. So if he gets a bunch of targets and pulls down a few of them, he'll get points.
A few, yes, but he's not worth. I mean, Justin
saying
looked at
he's
my
high,
keeper
but
league, my keeper league roster, and was like, "Dude, your team's stacked." And then I was like, "Yeah, oh wait, my two best players have Geno Smith throwing them the football."
Week 1.
Week 1, yeah, seriously.
Is this a good time to talk about Jimmy Garoppolo?
Has he been cut?
No.
Wobbleopolo?
But
Would he be an upgrade even?
That's...
I think so.
I
He
think
would be
so,
an
too.
upgrade.
You said it like he wouldn't, and then you were like, actually, he would.
Did you guys watch any of the preseason games? Especially the last one?
Not much.
Oh my gosh. So Geno Smith looked like Geno Smith from last year, which was a whole lot of and then a kind of a and then
But
Drew
not
Lock
making
came in.
horrible mistakes,
Yeah,
right?
right. And then Drew Lock came in, and I think it might have been his first pass was picked. It was really
no.
close. And then the next drive, gorgeous throws, including one absolutely beautiful dime for a touchdown. And then the next drives that I watched, dude, do you remember when Jimmy would just black out and just start throwing the football? And
Your brother or Garoppolo?
No, my brother. And just have no
Garoppolo
clue.
also throws the ball with his eyes closed. at
Just have
times.
no clue where the defense was.
Yeah.
And he would just throw it. That's what this was.
Pick City.
Like, it was gross. There were so many picks, and then there were so many balls that should have been picked. One of which, dude, it was the worst decision I've seen since Sean Canfield, an Oregon State Beaver quarterback, threw it to 4 people from the other team. Like, it was that bad. Like, it was a guy in the flat, and there was literally a defender standing right in front of him, and Drew Lock looks over there, and goes, yep, and just throws it directly to the other team.
Congratulations for being the only podcaster to mention Sean Canfield this year.
Of all podcasters, all of them.
Probably for the last 10 years.
Ooh. How long ago was that?
How long ago was he the backup for the Saints? Because he, Oregon State backup quarterback U. He was the backup for the Saints for a while. Yeah. Good old Sean Canfield.
How do the Seahawks end up with 3 backup quarterbacks on the
Right.
roster and none from backup quarterback U?
That's true. Well, they had Jake Luton last year.
Yeah.
And then they cut him for Jacob Eason. Because that's a great idea. The dude couldn't even hold on to his starting position in college. What? Seriously, is Pete Carroll the worst? Like, how did they stumble into Russell Wilson? How? All of the rest of their decisions since have been garbage. Except for DK Metcalf.
That seems strong.
But seriously,
saying, like,
they stumbled into him too because he dropped to the end of the second round.
Well, they got Lockett.
Canfield No. All of the other decisions.
I thought you were just saying quarterback-wise.
Well, quarterback-wise, it doesn't look so good either. I'm sorry.
Really
I'm
extreme today.
a little extreme.
You
Like I
know
said,
what? I can tell.
I haven't been on the show in forever. I've just got all this pent-up anxiety
Just
and aggression.
energy. Just
Yes.
energy. It's oozing out of your pores, and it's just ready to explode into the microphone.
Yes.
The Saints cut Canfield in August of 2012.
Okay, so it has been 10 years
10
then.
years ago.
Yeah.
Literally
Whoa,
10
like literally
a few
exactly.
days
Yeah.
days shy of 10 years ago. It was the 31st.
Wow.
And I bet nobody mentioned it.
No. True. So, yeah, it probably literally has been 10 years since a podcaster has mentioned Sean Canfield.
That's funny.
We should
And
get
it
a
might have been
trophy.
me.
Yeah, it might have been. Who knows? Well,
Oh.
so on the show sheet,
Oh, yeah. So
which,
where do we
first of
wanna
all,
go?
if anybody was curious why the 2-minute drill was a little clunky, it's because I didn't write questions. I just wrote, like, phrases or, in one case, just a name. So when it got to Daniel and he just said, Joel Dublanko, and then he paused for a really long time, I almost started to answer because I thought, oh, that was the whole question. And then he decided to keep talking.
Yeah. And then I created the question in my mind.
Yeah.
And went for it.
It would have been the question, except that there was no question mark at the end of Joel Dublanko. So Daniel just said Joel Dublanko. If you would, if you would have put a question mark, he would have been like Joel Dublanko.
He reads whatever is on the teleprompter.
Exactly.
Just like Ron Burgundy.
Had there been a question mark, would have been there.
But anyway, we had the Seahawks quarterback who is available.
Yeah.
Is there anybody from the outside? Is Jimmy G the only guy and nothing happens till he gets cut? Or
Jake Luton just got cut from Jacksonville again, so. But they already show they don't like him. They like unsuccessful quarterbacks.
Minshew is still languishing in
So last time I brought that up,
Philadelphia.
you whipped out that Philadelphia wouldn't get rid of him.
yeah, I don't think they will.
Yeah.
I think
Are they just
I
holding?
think they know.
Do they really not believe in Jalen Hurts? Are they still squeamish on him?
Seriousness here.
Yes.
I think probably he's a really amazing backup quarterback because he was ready to be a coach, right?
Oh, that's a good point.
So I kind of feel like he is a really, really good guy to have in a quarterback room.
Yeah.
And then also Jalen Hurts is a big-time running quarterback, so you kind of always have to be ready for an injury there.
That's a good point too.
Gosh,
And they pretty much stole him for like a 6th-round pick or something.
Yeah.
So they got to feel pretty good about where they're sitting there.
Yeah, that's a good point. Gosh darn it.
The other
who
thing-
else is available out there?
It's only Jimmy G. Like, Baker Mayfield was the other one, and he's in Carolina now. And
But-
it's become very obvious that there's not going to be a trade made for Garoppolo. So there is some date, and I don't remember what it is, that if they don't cut him before a certain date, then he gets some kind of a big bonus
Yeah.
or some kind of big activator in his contract. He gets a bunch of
It might
money.
be Tuesday, and it might be making the roster. It might be that.
Okay, so
So I think that's coming up pretty quick.
So they've got to either cut him or pay him, and so a lot of people speculate that they might cut him so they don't have to pay him.
Yeah.
But Trey Lance has been
Before
a
week
pretty
1.
mixed bag in preseason, and a lot of the reports even out of practice were that he's not doing well or he's not ready. So the 49ers have got, I mean, I don't think that situation is settled. I don't know that they feel secure enough with Trey Lance that they're going to be willing to just cut Garoppolo for nothing.
Yeah. Is Jameis Winston on?
Isn't he the starter for the Saints?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh gosh, is he a starter again?
I think so.
Speaking of people more obnoxious than Russell Wilson and not being a felon,
Is he the
Jameis
one?
Winston has to be up there.
Is he the one who ate a W?
He was eating W's. Yeah, that was pretty.
I
that
don't
was
find
pretty
him
obnoxious.
all that obnoxious, honestly. I
Just
like
the
I don't
slurping
like him or
sounds
anything.
alone from
Yeah.
the eating of the W
Eh.
is more obnoxious.
Yeah.
It sounded like Andrew eating top ramen.
He had some.
Something that Daniel has intimate knowledge of.
He had some very
Hey, Rumi.
publicly immature moments,
Yes.
either in college or when he first got into the pros. But I don't know. Now I feel like he's just more corny.
Yeah.
Like the
exactly.
eating W's thing. Like, come on, man.
Yeah.
Speaking of obnoxious, Sean says that the arrogance being exhibited is sensational.
By who?
I assume Daniel
Oh, okay.
Oh, by me?
calling out
Saying
all
Pete-
of their
everything that Pete
decisions.
caroled.
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, you've
He's-
seen the downward trajectory of this team.
He kind of smiled right after he said it, though. I think that should count for something. Do you guys have more on Dublanko?
okay.
Because we...
I don't. And actually, I'm sorry to cut you off a little
Mm-hmm.
bit there, but I actually, there's people are starting to come out with roster projections and stuff like that. And one of them from, I think, Field Goals.
Mm-hmm.
They do a blog on the Seahawks. They do, here's who.
Were you doing that on purpose?
No, but I wish I was.
That was a flashback for me.
Yeah.
Hey, we're up.
Are we back?
We're back?
We're back?
Yes.
Way to go, trusty producer.
Ish.
When things go terribly, that's when you earn your stripes. Show your medal.
When life gives you lemons, put them in some vodka and drink it.
I thought that's when you squeeze the lemons into life's eye and
couldn't
say,
think of
take
what-
that, life.
Would vodka be the best alcohol for lemons to be in? Besides a beer?
Or gin.
Gin.
Gin?
I personally don't like vodka. What were we talking about?
Who remembers?
We were talking about Joel.
Okay, yeah.
Dublanko.
Yeah.
And I think what we have seen when it comes to what are his shot, what is his shot to make the team, the 53-man roster, I think he played pretty well. I mean, every now and then there'd be a missed tackle, and you'd be like, because you're watching him, especially for me, and I'm sure you guys as well, because we know him, every missed tackle, you're like, oh, crud.
Mm-hmm.
And then you realize that it's the NFL. People
Yeah.
break tackles constantly.
Yeah, there were, in the second game, there were 15 missed tackles
Yeah.
as a team.
Yeah. And in this last game, he had 12 tackles,
Yeah.
half a sack, and a pass defensed.
Yeah. And a quarterback hit.
And a quarterback hit?
Yeah, it was on the stat sheet.
Oh, dang.
Oh, yeah. I remember hearing it.
Yeah. I heard it all the way from wherever they were playing. Was it a home game?
On the radio. I heard it on the radio.
No, they were in Dallas.
I heard it all the way from Dallas.
Whoa.
He hit the quarterback, and I heard a crunch, and I was like, what was that?
It was Joel. Just crunching people. So, I don't know. I think he's got a good shot, especially because he does have a background of special teams, right? Like one of the first major highlights we had from his college career
That's
was
true.
that
The punt.
was that fake punt where he rumbled for like 30, 40 yards.
And then he talked to you about it later, and it seemed like maybe he just kind of did what he wanted.
No, they had the...
He said, we had a signal,
Yeah.
and I think my coach made the signal. They had it like a preset, hey, there's going to be a certain look. If I see this look, I'm going to give you this signal. And he's
Yeah.
like is it the personal protector?
Yeah.
On a punt formation, and he just, direct snap, intercepted it, took off, first down, 29 yards or whatever it was.
It was awesome.
It was awesome.
I mean,
Yeah.
he had to see the look before.
Yeah, that's
too,
true.
Also,
Yeah.
So
we saw the first part at least.
I think my coach made the signal.
Yeah.
I saw the look.
best
I
part
think
was
the
they were
coach made
already
the
up by
signal.
like 20 or something like that. He was like-
I just remember thinking as that was happening that I would bet that none of those dudes on the other side of the ball knew how fast he was.
Right.
Because he got the ball, and when he was in open space, it's like you're not used to seeing guys that size move like that.
Exactly. So I don't know. And then Andrew brought up the point. He put out some good film. So practice squad might not be an option because another team might pluck him up. I think that's a little, I don't know. It could happen. But the Seahawks depth at linebacker is pretty shallow.
That's fair.
So I would think that a team like the Seahawks would want him around. So maybe, I don't know if there's teams that have less depth there.
Well,
But
they
he
have-
got to play a ton, which was awesome.
Yeah.
On this depth chart that I'll give credit here to who put it out. This is Corbin K. Smith, who's an NFL reporter.
Yeah, Locked On Seahawks podcast. It's
he-
a good podcast.
He put out here's how I see the depth of the position right now, and there are 7 middle linebackers listed. But once you get past,
Well, because they're in a 3-4, right?
yeah,
So
Yeah.
so they need 2 middle linebackers
Right.
on the field at all times.
you got
okay.
2 linebackers and then basically an edge rusher, 2 completely separate categories.
Yeah, right.
Jordan Brooks and Cody Barton, and then John Radigan, Tanner Muse,
Oh.
Lakeem Williams, Joel Dublanko, and Nick Ballore.
Oh, he has Ballore last, huh?
Well, Ballore was
'Cause I'm
really bad in the beginning of the preseason.
Okay. Because
Is he getting a little old?
he must be getting a little old, but he also is the fullback.
Yeah.
And so
Oh,
that
yeah.
adds to his value.
Yeah, like they probably won't cut him unless they have another fullback.
Yeah.
Right.
Which Joel could play fullback.
Word.
He played quarterback in high school, for Pete's sake. I mean, but that's what so with him,
It's weird. He doesn't have Ballore listed on the running back / fullback.
He mostly
position at
played
all.
quarterback because
Interesting.
it was the only way to make sure he actually got to touch the ball every play.
He played,
it was a weird year,
As
He
man.
I
played
recall.
quarterback that last year
It was a
because
weird
they
year.
had no one else to play quarterback.
Yeah.
And he could
Yeah.
throw the ball.
Yeah.
He had a strong arm.
He did have a strong arm. He was the best athlete on the field,
Yeah.
and sometimes, just like in baseball, you put your best athlete at shortstop.
Yeah.
Are they a good shortstop? Maybe not, but you put them there.
Yeah.
But you don't have a better one.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's not why I play there. There's better athletes.
I think the tone of the room here is we should be optimistic that
Yeah.
all signs point to Joel getting a spot on the practice squad.
Yeah. I
And
think
if
so.
not the Seahawks practice squad, that he's put out enough good film that he could get on a practice squad.
Yeah.
It'd be cool if it was close to home, especially since practice squad players don't make a ton of money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, because of all of our busyness and sickness and everything else that knocked us out, we haven't got to interview him yet.
Yeah.
It'd be really nice to interview him on a positive note.
That's going to happen.
Or on a close to home note, I guess. Would be.
Oh,
But-
yeah. So we're not talking about Cincinnati. I was saying Cleveland, but Cincinnati.
Cincinnati would
Yeah.
be kind of cool for him, though. Like,
Yeah.
if he went to Cincinnati, they just
No.
won, or went to the Super Bowl.
I meant like you were saying on a close to home note.
oh,
we
like
weren't
when he
talking
played for
about-
Cincinnati.
yeah, yeah.
Right,
Like,
right.
It was cool to talk to him, but we aren't like following Cincinnati football.
Right. Except for
Justin.
when he was
Justin
player
was.
there.
Well, we have a lot of Cincinnati football followers on our Twitter page because we tweet so much about Joel.
That makes
Love
sense.
it.
We
Love
got
it.
retweeted by Travis Kelce also.
That's true.
Yeah,
That was awesome.
And what's the name of the Cincinnati coach? Is it Frickle or
Yeah. Fickle?
He
Fickle?
retweeted
Fickle?
us. He liked their post
Nice.
or something. There's
Sweet.
some activity from some high-level Cincy people.
Well, also, there's some more high-level people from Cincy on the Seahawks right now. Kobe Bryant
Yeah.
played for the Bearcats, too. So, I don't know. We'll see.
Well, one more preseason game to go, and then we can get into the slog.
Wait, is there
of
still
this.
4 preseason games?
No, there are 3.
No more preseason games to go, and then we can get into the slog of this awful regular season that none of us are looking forward to.
Dude, it's going to be so weird.
I miss Russ.
I miss him, too.
Do
It's
you
going to be
guys-
so weird.
Do you guys want to do like record predictions, or do you want to take another week?
I'll do a record prediction. Well, how many
I've
games do they
changed
play
my
now?
mind-
17?
Yeah, I've changed my mind on this a few different times.
They will win. They are going to go 4-13.
Wow, that's worse than I think they're
That's
going to be.
bad.
Yeah.
They are bad.
I think they have
They are
enough,
young, and their quarterbacks are bad.
but they haven't. I feel like there's enough top-level players on this team that they're going to end up winning some games.
But aren't the top level players dependent on the quarterback? That's
would
the
think
problem that
that.
I think they're going to run
But
into.
Pete Carroll
is
runs a team where he keeps the quarterback from making as much positive impact as possible.
yeah, but they still have to deliver the ball to the. Oh wait,
To the
there's
running
just a
back.
tweet. Oh, that's cool. 3 hours ago, the Seattle Seahawks tweeted at Dublanko 29 showed out in our last preseason game. Flex emoji, 12 tackles, 1 half sack, 1 QB hit, pass defense.
That's from the Seahawks
That's
official
from this
Twitter page?
Yeah, that's from the Seahawks official Twitter page.
Okay.
Because I was pulling it up on Bleacher Report to look at the schedule to give an accurate prediction of how many times I think they're going to lose. But then that pops out, and if Joel Dublanko makes the team, I mean, they're giving him some good pub at least. So
Take
that's
that,
cool.
Mike Salk.
So that's cool. And that's actually encouraging for making the team. I mean,
Yeah.
the official team page pumping you out there. That's pretty awesome. But let's look at this regular season schedule. Broncos, Monday night. That's a loss. San Francisco, that's a loss.
Home or away?
It's at San Fran.
Early in the season?
Yeah. Yeah.
Trey Lance's second game?
Yeah.
You're right. I forgot that Trey Lance is playing quarterback there now. So that one, okay, so that might be one of their wins? Is that what you're saying?
Maybe. San Fran has a pretty good roster. Definitely a better roster outside of quarterback.
Atlanta versus at home against Atlanta.
Yeah, Atlanta's terrible.
Okay, so you're thinking that's a win?
Yeah. Mark it
De-
down.
At Detroit?
The Lions, I don't care how many people pick them as a sneaky team to win or make the playoffs. No, they're bad. They're the Lions. They'll always be the Lions.
The Saints?
Loss.
Cardinals.
Home or away?
It's home.
Win.
You what? You
Cardinals?
think they're gonna beat the
I
Cardinals?
think they're going to split with the Cardinals.
Kyler
home and
Murray's
home.
going to be surprised to not have Russell Wilson on the other team, and it's going
Okay.
to be really confusing.
Okay,
to
but
him.
also the Cardinals are usually good in the first half of the
a
season.
good
You have them
point.
winning that game and losing the one later.
Yes.
Okay, Chargers,
Loss.
New York Giants.
Win.
Okay, so you have them at like 4 wins already.
Yep.
Okay, Cardinals again.
Loss.
Tampa Bay Bucks. Old man Brady.
Loss.
Buccaneers or Raiders.
Loss.
I wouldn't be shocked if they won like that one.
Right. Rams at the Rams
Loss.
versus the Panthers
Win.
Who's
Baker Mayfield?
Baker Mayfield
against
yeah.
the 49ers at home.
Loss. Trey Lance gets his footing by then.
At
the defense hasn't gotten any better.
at the Kansas City Mahomes.
Loss.
Versus the Jets.
Win. That's 6.
Okay, and then against the Rams. So you have them going 6
I was
going to
say 6 and 11
Okay.
before this whole thing started.
I was going to say 7-10, not because I think that they're
7-10.
very good. I think that there are a lot of. I think they're going to finish the season better than they started the season because I think there's a lot of young, legitimate talent. But
Yeah.
also, I think they're going to win some games that they have absolutely no business winning.
I
I just I expect them to win at
Am I-
least 2 games.
I'm with you on
that. There's just no like. What are you doing? You shouldn't have won that game. You should feel bad for winning that game.
That stuff happens in the NFL.
I don't
think
understand
that-
how that
I'll explain it.
okay.
I'll explain it. I
All right.
think that under Pete Carroll, a bad quarterback is not going to make the team as bad as they would elsewhere. I also think a good quarterback is not going to make the team as good as they would otherwise, because Pete Carroll does his best to minimize the impact of the quarterback position on the game.
I get what you're saying, but how many times, because of that philosophy, was the game left in the hands of Russell Wilson to save you at the end? And that is not something a bad quarterback can do.
It's also left in the hands of the defense to save Russell Wilson at the end, though.
Yeah.
That also happened.
Okay, so your defense is worse as well.
No, our defense is going to be better especially by the end of the year.
How? Just because they have a different
Faster,
coach?
younger, better coached. All of those things are going to make for a better defense by the end of the year.
Okay.
I do think that
I hope they're better coached. We have no idea. We're all assuming that anybody's better than what's his name, which probably, but that's what you're assuming.
Yes, that's an assumption.
The coach from last year, the defensive coordinator, Ken Norton. Ken Norton, yeah.
Clint Hurt, I think, is a better coach than Ken Norton.
We'll
But
see.
even if he's not, they're younger and faster. And so I think they'll be better by the end of the year.
Yeah, but they're also less experienced. You don't
Right.
have Bobby Wagner or KJ Wright.
Well, we didn't have KJ Wright last year.
Oh, you're right. Bobby Wagner and
we
I
missed
feel like
him.
we're missing someone else.
Jordan Brooks was the other linebacker last year, right?
Yeah. It was, but there's one more.
Daryl
Taylor?
Taylor.
Yeah, so
Daryl
he's still
Taylor.
there. Yeah.
I just want to make clear, I don't think that we got better by cutting Bobby. I think Bobby has at least several more years, and I think that he was playing better than he looked last year.
Yeah.
Because I think he was cleaning up a lot of mistakes from the people around him. And when you're the middle quarterback, you're always making the tackles, but whether they look good or not depends on whether you get set up to make good tackles or you're chasing people.
Yeah.
Is
And
a
he's going to be
pumpkin-
playing for
I know.
Los Angeles. That's going to be fun.
No, it's not.
Is a pumpkin a gourd?
That's a good question.
I really wanted to be super involved in your guys' conversation, and Daniel, everyone misspeaks. I misspeak more than anyone. You said regorded.
Did I say regarding?
So
well,
all I
Andrew
could think
said
of-
middle quarterback.
But all I could
okay?
think of when you said when you said that,
Quarterback.
that what's stuck in my head
remember
now
that.
is an image of
Regorded?
someone having a gourd thrown at them, like a pumpkin. And then the person being like, no, that wasn't good enough. I need to regord you. And throwing... So I'm just picturing someone getting 2 pumpkins thrown at them.
Gotcha. David Pumpkins?
Regorded.
David Pumpkins? So, yeah. Okay, so we got 7 wins, 6 wins, and 4 wins.
We'll see who wins the wins
I mean,
contest.
in your guys' defense, they do play both teams from New York, so that's a positive step. And Detroit.
True.
So... Okay.
Is there a team in the NFL that you haven't heard someone say, I think this team's going to surprise some people this year?
Yeah, the Seahawks.
Maybe they're the one.
Because they have Drew Lock or Geno
Is
Smith.
anyone saying that the Jags are going to surprise some
Yes,
people? Really?
I've heard Jaguars, I've heard Giants, I've heard Jets.
Well,
Over the
didn't Jets
last
get a really good draft class. Like, people were talking about how good their draft class was.
Yeah, and
So
they
that
also
kinda
had like a
makes
billion
sense
picks.
that they'd be saying it was
Yeah.
good.
But
I don't.
yeah.
I.
But they're still the Jets.
I believe that they can ruin.
All
a
right,
good
all right.
draft
We just spent
class.
a long time talking about the Seahawks. And a lot of it was talking about Joel, which is worth it. But can we talk about the Mariners?
Yeah.
Can we talk? I mean, we're all Mariners fans now, right?
Mm-hmm. I have been
freaking go!
on this positivity train with the Mariners since day one.
Get
All in
out of here.
on this team making the playoffs since the beginning of the season. Go
Just-
M's, baby. See us rise.
Justin, just
That's
like
the
that.
Twitter hashtag thing.
Just like that memory that Facebook reminded us of 10 years ago when you said that Matt Flynn was going to be the starting quarterback. Don't try and twist the truth after the fact.
I don't
sir.
remember any of that.
So,
I hit my microphone.
there's a good catch there.
Thank you.
So the Mariners just took 3 of 4 from Cleveland, which is good because Cleveland is one of the teams that they'll be competing with down the stretch. Even if Cleveland wins their division, so we're not competing with them for the wild card, right now as it sits, the Mariners would play Cleveland in a 3-game series in that first round of the playoffs.
You're listening.
Andrew's playing the intro.
Sorry. I had to restart stuff so I could play audio.
That makes sense. Do we need to play a commercial anywhere? Actually, do we need to do something else? Am I skipping things?
No, we have Stump Daniel. We could do Mariners first. Let's
Okay.
do Mariners, and we'll do Stump Daniel, then we'll take a commercial break.
Okay. I thought I was ruining things.
No,
there. I'm
you're
sorry.
good. No, all good.
So, great sign that they beat the the Guardians 3 out of 4 games.
Canceled.
Yeah. Darn it. They didn't score many runs, but the Indians have a really good pitching staff, so it doesn't seem like that big of an issue. Also, Andres Munoz hopefully got his one bad outing of the second half of the season out of his way, and that was the only reason why they lost. And that might be, Andrew, was that the first time? Have you heard that stat? Were the Mariners undefeated this season if they led after the 8th inning or starting the 8th inning?
I haven't heard that.
I can't remember.
Sorry.
Anyway, they've been really good late in games. Andres Munoz has been amazing. Finally had a bad outing. They ended up losing the 3rd game of the series. Bounce back, win the 4th game. Everything's looking good for this team, especially if Ty France is actually healthy, which was your argument during the 2-minute drill when I said he needed to be sat down because I might not have seen what happened today.
Well, you also have been saying
He made
that
really
for,
good contact today.
Okay.
And I've been saying that for days, though.
That's true.
And I have been agreeing with you. And today it looked like from the way he looked at the plate and the way he looked with talking about it afterwards, it sounded like he was feeling a lot better as far as his timing. Which
Yeah, also
his
moved him-
timing has been, he's been chasing pitches.
Yeah.
He hasn't been showing visible signs of distress or wrist or there, and reporters, Shannon Dreyer and other reporters in the locker room have been saying that he hasn't been getting any attention to his wrist. He's like, he wasn't, getting special attention with it from the trainers and stuff. So it was just assumption that he got his wrist hurt and now he's struggling.
That makes sense.
He definitely was struggling with his timing, and he was talking today after the game, and he was saying that he felt like he was getting the timing back, and he did make, I know he hit one home run that was a sky shot, and I know he hit a line out that was like super hard hit and directly to a fielder. I don't know what the third was,
Yeah.
but I know he had 3 hits over 100 miles per hour exit velocity.
Gotta love that exit velo.
Exit velo.
Or EV.
Well,
as they
those
say.
are all good signs because the Mariners with Ty France, the Mariners without Ty France being an all-star look a lot different. Like if Ty France is not an all-star caliber player, their lineup looks a lot different because they need him. Because right now they have a bunch of potential type. They have Julio, a bunch of potential type guys who maybe are playing better or are starting to play better or have been hit hot swings and stuff up and down. They've got Haniger, who's really good, and he's actually turning it on here now that he's finally back. Not turning it on, he's just finally back, and he's awesome. But if you don't have that third guy, then it's really sketchy. And Eugenio, I love him, but, I mean, he is hitting 226. So he's going to come up and he's going to hit bombs.
Only homers.
He's going to hit bombs. But it's not the same. You
Yeah.
need that guy who's going to be...
He's not a replacement for Ty.
Exactly. So it gets sketchy if Ty France isn't an all-star. So that is extremely necessary. And I think that I still think that they're on the trajectory to make the playoffs. The schedule is going to help them, but they got to stop playing down to their opponents too because you can't...
That's something they hadn't really done for most of the year.
Yeah.
And they just kind of started doing it. They lost a series to the Athletics and
Rangers.
To the Rangers, yeah.
Yeah. At least they swept the Angels.
Yeah.
Like, get out of here, Angels. But you can't play down
in their
to people.
defense, the Yankees, who we all agree is a better team talent-wise than the Mariners, just lost to the Athletics. So
in a series?
I actually think so, but I'm not certain.
Okay.
They are 19-27 since Carlos Beltran was last in the booth, according to this tweet.
Yeah, I was going to say the Yankees, until like a week and a half ago, the Yankees were in a total free fall.
Awesome.
Yes.
And then still somehow we're
They
like
have-
8 or 9 games up on
They have
everyone else in
one
their
hit
division.
over their last 15 innings against the Athletics.
That's
Yankees
amazing.
Twitter fans are a amazing read. In case anyone enjoys Schadenfreude.
Is
Is it
Schadenfreude?
Is it Schadenfreude?
Freud?
Freud? Schadenfreude?
Schadenfreude? I don't know. You're going to...
I'll defer to you.
I don't know. I'm not gonna say anything. All I know is all I want to know is Francis, one of them.
I don't know.
I don't think he pays attention enough.
I think he's like, oh, baseball hasn't started yet.
Are you back to pumpkins a gourd?
I was doing it away from the mic.
It's in the
so you
same
wouldn't be
family.
able to hear.
It's in the same family.
It's a gourd
It's a
family.
member of the Gord family.
Yes. So the Yankees are 5-5 in their last 10, and the Mariners are 6-4 in their last 10. There's nobody with really any good streaks going right now. Nobody's going streaking in the American League. Looking at overall, the Mariners. Oh wow, sweet. So the Blue Jays have lost 3 in a row. So the Mariners are actually second in the wild card right now, half a game behind Tampa Bay. Let's go.
Yeah.
All right, Justin. I feel like we're losing you.
Okay, so
I was going to talk about Ichiro's.
Justin's like, I was all in on
I'm
the
so
Mariners, but now
sorry.
you're talking about other baseball
Well,
teams.
yeah, let me tell you why I got
Even this-
distracted. Because as I'm searching up that a pumpkin is a member of the gourd family, I also learned that the gourd family includes cucumbers, honeydew
Yep.
melons,
Yep.
cantaloupe,
What?
watermelons, and zucchini.
Watermelons. I
Yeah.
had no idea.
Amazing.
Fascinating.
The more you know.
They're all big
more you
vines
know.
they're all vines with big things on them, except for cucumbers are small. I guess.
Learning is fun.
What was the thing with the Ichiro girl? I didn't watch the video.
Oh, well, the Ichiro girl. So, do you remember that old
It
viral
was kind
video?
of embarrassing for her, I
Right?
felt.
That's what I
mostly.
thought. But she was like embracing it. She was like all about it. So this girl, Ichiro, went like crashing into the stands kind of to try and catch a ball. Didn't get it, but kind of bumped into her a little bit. She was sitting in that, you know where the corner like juts out the farthest on the right field line? She was sitting in the very closest seat to it. And he kind of bumped into her a little bit and then went, "Are you okay?" and like patted her on the shoulder a little bit. And she like got shell shocked. Yeah.
Completely lost it.
Yeah, and then was like, "He touched me! He touched me! I gotta call my mom!"
And she
Like,
was a child when this happened?
she was a teenager.
Okay.
Yeah,
Probably like
that's why I was
17,
saying
18.
It's more. I was more embarrassed for her.
Yeah.
Than,
Oh, yeah.
like
But she embraced it.
yeah. So
Like, loved
credit
it.
to her, and she got to throw a first.
So
pitch,
she got out to throw the first pitch on Friday night, I think, and she didn't know that Ichiro was going to be catching the first pitch too. So like she goes out there and she's like, "Oh yeah, you know," and they're like, "Ichiro girl, Iris, whatever her name is," and then they're like, "But what?" I'm doing my best PA announcer voice,
That's
which
pretty
that
good.
guy's voice is awesome. But he's like, "What Iris doesn't know is Ichiro will be catching the first pitch," and she's like, "Ah!" loses her mind all over again.
Pretty
It was
good
great.
PA voice.
Ah, thank you.
I like that.
Practice it every now.
So
and then.
what you guys were getting a little emotional over Ichiro Hall of Fame weekend.
Yeah, during his and all of the highlights of his career, and I was like, man, I forgot how good and how awesome Ichiro was. And then listening to everybody else talk about him, and then his speech was
Which
really
is,
good.
I think the first time that he spoke English on the record.
Yeah, I mean, he's done it in like commercials briefly.
Yes.
like
Yeah,
very
yeah.
briefly. But he
Junior!
yeah, he went full on English, and was great. And
it was awesome.
It was really emotional.
It's on YouTube.
Yeah.
Seattle Mariners YouTube
Yep.
channel has the whole 40-minute induction ceremony, and it was awesome.
It was really good.
40 minutes.
The whole ceremony. I think his speech was like 18 minutes, and
Yeah.
that's because
And
people
that's-
clapped after like every sentence.
That's cut out. They cut that out in case you just want to watch his speech.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And it was still 18 minutes?
Yes, it was about 18
Gosh,
minutes.
It was really long. But it was worth it. Like I was tearing up watching it. And the funniest part was when he was like, "Jamie Moyer, I really like you, and you played until you were 49, and I really respect that." And everybody cheers. And he's like, "But you talk so much." When I first came here, you talked to me for 30 minutes in English, and I had no idea what you said. And then he's like, and even now when you talk to me, I still can't understand most of what you say. It was just, it's
Jamie
hilarious.
Boyer a fast talker?
I think he might be a fast talker or Southern accent.
Oh, okay. Because
Like-
if he was a fast talker, that'd be based on his pitch speed. That's
ironic.
that's a contrast.
Seriously.
Or maybe
So-
it's compensating. He talks super fast because he pitches
Right.
so slow.
Anyway, it was really good. I wasn't expecting to get it super emotional about it. Just like I wasn't expecting to get emotional when Kyle Seager got pulled out of the game and I was like crying. I was not expecting to get this emotional about Ichiro. And then Courtney, my wife, was like, when I was watching it, and I was getting teary-eyed when Ichiro would like mention other players. She was like, this was the team you like grew up watching, right? And I was like, yeah, it was like Edgar and Jamie and Dan Wilson. And I'm just like,
getting emotional, not gonna lie.
well played.
That's what he said.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. It was good times. Yeah,
I've
good
got
stuff.
something for earlier when we were talking about how Justin was a believer in.
Oh, okay. In
I would be shocked, if Russell Wilson starts week 1. Shocked,
That's
elated, but shocked,
And I'll be surprised if he doesn't. Not shocked, surprised.
shocked. See, you're not being extreme enough. You're shocked,
That's your job.
shocked.
You know, I used to be the one who was just overreaction and crazy, but I think you've taken over my role there.
No, and see, I'm not overreacting. I'm being a jerk.
I don't remember the last time I heard that whole clip.
I don't remember. I did not remember that whole clip. That's so good.
So, for context, for anyone who may not have been around in 2012 when in the original iteration of our show, this was relating to throughout the preseason, Matt Flynn was signed, Russell Wilson was amazing in preseason, dazzling in preseason.
Matt Flynn had a soggy elbow.
Right.
We all loved Russ, but my opinion at the time was that the inevitable choice at quarterback was Matt Flynn because they had paid him that money. Which now, when you look back on the amount of money he was paid, it's nothing compared to what quarterbacks get paid now.
Yeah.
But at the time, that was like starting quarterback money,
Yeah.
and it would have been conceivably it could hurt you in other parts of the team, which was my main thinking. Like, you don't
Yeah.
pay a guy this money and then not play him.
Right.
So I was loud wrong there.
I like
But that
loud
does
wrong.
not apply to this Mariners team. I have been on the boat from the beginning with
All right.
positivity.
All right. Yeah. Get out of here, Mister. I will not be hurt again. Stop being optimistic. Those are the things you said.
Well, it's time for my favorite
There
part
we
of the
go.
show.
Serving questions up on a silver platter where the points are made up and the rules don't matter. Time for Stump Daniel. Pivot.
Nice segue.
Stump Daniel is brought to you by the law office of Jeffrey A. Domashevitz, no relation.
What's the A stand for?
Daniel, we have discussed this before. Streaming services.
Right.
There are too many of them.
Yes.
They all cost money.
I think there's way more now than when the last time we discussed
So
anything.
many more, but do you
It just
recall
keeps going.
my opinion at the time was my anger was how many of these am I expected to pay for to watch the shows I want to watch? What if there was a service that would just bundle all the channels together? Oh wait, that's cable.
Right.
We already had that.
Yep. But you had to watch it live.
But since then, there's just like not only are there way more, but they're all like rising up to the same level. It used to be like Netflix and then everything else, and there were levels. They're all making their own content and everything to
Yeah.
the point where sometimes I'll be listening to a podcast or the radio and I'll hear about this cool show and I'll be like, oh, that's cool. I might check that out. And then just to find out it's exclusive, created by one of these streaming platforms that I don't have.
Exactly. Yeah.
So Daniel,
and
that-
for me, that's the ones I don't have, the main ones that I don't have, because I feel like, but there's so many growing.
yeah.
But anything that people are like, oh, you go watch this show? It's on HBO Max.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't have that. Oh, you watch this show? It's on Apple TV.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't have that one either.
Those two are making a lot of the best shows.
Yeah, but I got Amazon, watched a good movie. Well, I don't know if it was a good movie. A fun movie on Amazon the other night. It was an Amazon original. Sandra Bullock, Channing Tatum, Brad Pitt, Daniel Radcliffe.
Are
And
all
that was
actors.
an Amazon original. And I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
sweet.
Yeah.
Although Brad Pitt was more of a cameo. It was really weird. It was kind of funny.
Well, Daniel, that inspired.
He got shot in the head very unexpectedly.
Spoiler alert,
Right? Well, I didn't say what movie it is, but you could probably figure it out from the cast. I was shocked.
How many movies
It's
have
like-
that cast?
back in the day with Scream,
Yeah.
where they promoted it as a Drew Barrymore film, and then she gets murdered in the first scene and is not in the whole rest of the movie.
Right.
Sorry,
Right.
spoiler alert.
Yeah.
For that 25-year-old movie.
At least.
Well, that, Daniel, that frustration about streaming platforms
Yes.
inspired this edition of Stemp Daniel, which I will call, On Which Streaming Service Can You Find This Popular Show?
If one more person tells me I need to watch Ted Lasso. I don't
Daniel,
have that one.
I'm going to give you a show.
What is that one on?
Apple? Or HBO. It's on one of those two.
Oh, okay.
Daniel, I'm going to give you a show. You're going to tell me which streaming platform you find it on.
Okay.
The first one,
Come on. Give me an easy one.
Only Murders in the Building.
Ah, crap. I don't know that one.
Big hit.
Is it really?
Steve Martin, Selena Gomez, some other famous old guy I can't remember.
Steve Martin's great. I haven't even seen commercials for it, so it must not be one of the ones I have.
It's a good show. I've watched all of it.
Which ones do you have? Is it a good show? Like,
Yeah.
do you think
like
I would like it?
Yeah,
You think Courtney would like it?
I think so. There's murder in it, but it's kind of a quirky.
We've watched all of the murder shows that used to be on TV.
Yeah, it's not a serious drama show. It's more of like a quirky comedy.
Then we would
show.
love it.
Yeah,
But
Steve
the
Martin's
fact that I
awesome.
haven't seen it yet, I'm assuming that it's on HBO.
Except be prepared for Selena Gomez to talk like this the entire time, and it's really weird and kind of annoying.
Why?
I don't really know.
I'm gonna say HBO.
Ooh, I'm sorry, that's incorrect, Daniel. It's on Hulu.
Oh, we are watching that tonight.
It is a Hulu exclusive.
We've been on Hulu watching Bones for the last month and a half, and then
The show
Castle
Bones?
before that. Yeah, the show Bones,
Okay.
and then we were watching. We just finished Castle again.
Oh,
These are both the second time we've watched through these shows.
I will say, in defense
So
of
we're watching Hulu now,
In defense
or-
of the many streaming services thing, at least you only have to pay for one at a time.
That's
if
good.
you want to watch a show, cancel your subscription, subscribe to another one. Like, you could pay for a
Dude,
different
Andrew
one.
doesn't
just
work
blew
with-
my mind.
It doesn't work with all
Whereas
these. though.
cable, you better be ready to watch cable for the next 3 years or however long. I don't know.
Although I gotta say, I'm kind of terrible when this discussion comes up because I just remembered I was like, oh, I could totally cancel these, and then I was like, wait a second, I only pay for Netflix. We use somebody else's Hulu, and we use somebody else's Amazon.
You're not supposed to say that out loud.
I know.
In public.
Well, actually, do we use our or do we pay for our Amazon? Are we just on your account, but we pay for our own section of it? How's
no,
that work?
you're just we're
We're
in the same
family.
family.
We're in the family.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
You're 0 for 1, Daniel.
I admit nothing.
Next show.
We're family. Dang it!
Huge show. I believe I heard this show has the largest budget per episode of any show in history.
Game of Thrones.
House of the Dragon.
So Game of Thrones.
Yes.
Okay.
Game of Thrones Part 2.
Part 2. Oh, yeah, that's the question.
Yeah.
HBO.
HBO Max is correct. You're 1 for 2.
Yeah, I knew that one.
Third one, Daniel. The aforementioned Ted Lasso. Which streaming platform is Ted Lasso on?
I should know this because so many people tell me to watch it.
You should watch it. It's a really good show.
People say it's amazing.
It's really good.
It's between HBO and Apple.
Roy Kent. He's here. He's there. He's everywhere.
Oh.
Legitimately, Roy Kent is one of my favorite characters from any show I've ever watched. Ted Lasso.
That's his.
His character. No, Ted Lasso is the main
Is
character.
the main
Roy
character.
Kent is
Is
one of the other
players?
main characters. Yeah, he's one of the players.
Okay. I'm gonna say HBO Max.
Ooh, I'm
It's
sorry.
Apple?
It's Apple TV
Dang it.
Plus. You're 1 for 3.
So how much does that cost? And do you have to be an Apple user?
You do not have to be an Apple user. You can have an Apple account and subscribe to it. I'm not entirely sure how much it costs because we got like a year free when we bought one of our phones.
Gotcha.
So
Okay.
I've never paid for it, but I have it.
Most people I feel that watch it have Apple phones and got it for free.
Yeah.
So what you need to
a good
do
show.
is here's what I need you to do. I need you to watch the show on your phone,
Yeah.
screen record,
Okay. I think they have.
send me every episode.
I think they have safeguards in place so you can't screen record while there's a show stream.
Do they?
Yeah.
Well, of course, it's an Apple phone.
Yeah.
You're not in control of your Apple phone.
You're
I
one
think
for
I can
three,
find
Daniel.
it on one of those really old websites that I used to go to, Andrew, when I would like watch movies. What were those websites? I can't even remember the names of those places, but I'd go and watch like. Again, I'm not admitting anything. Hypothetically, I watched Snow Train or Snowpiercer before it came out in theaters. Good movie. Hypothetically,
Snowpiercer's a movie?
it was a movie. Yeah,
Oh.
it had Chris Evans in it, I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I
That's
watched
the one
it.
with the train?
Yeah, it's the train that goes around the world constantly because like the world
Yeah, so
froze
they
or
made
something.
a show of that.
Yeah, I've heard that they made a show about it. The movie was very very
Never
interesting.
knew there was a movie.
Where can you
And-
find the show, Justin?
Is that one of the next questions?
No.
Oh, gotcha. What's that sound like, Justin?
I don't remember. He's got a really deep voice. and
Also,
I
she says
probably-
that Daniel has to watch Ted Lasso.
Yeah,
My favorite thing about
she's one of the people.
my favorite thing
Ian
about
also
Roy
wants me to watch
Kent
it.
is that he literally responds to people in grunts. People will ask him a question, and he'll go, and they'll ask him another question, he'll go, pretty cool.
All right,
She-Hulk, Daniel. Which streaming
that's
platform?
a show or
Yeah,
a
it's a
movie?
new show.
That's a new show, yeah.
I thought it was a movie.
Now it's a new show. Not your typical Marvel show. It's more lighthearted comedy and less action.
That's got to be Disney
superhero
Plus,
thing.
right? Doesn't Disney Plus own all the Marvel stuff?
Final answer?
Yeah.
That's correct. It is Disney Plus. You are 2 for 5.
Let's go. Wait, 2 for 5?
1, 2,
When that happened?
4. Actually, that was only 4.
Okay.
Sorry.
You are 2 for 4.
2 for 4. The
right.
Resort, Daniel. This is the new show with Chidi from The Good Place and the
like
How I
Chidi.
Met Your Mother mom.
How I Met Your Mother mom?
Is there a mom in How I Met Your Mother?
You mean Lily?
No. The mom that they introduce you to in the final season.
Oh, I never watched the
Definitely
final
didn't
season.
watch the last season.
I'm not going to tell you
I
what
cut out.
happens, but it's infuriating.
I cut out before the last season because I fell behind and then somebody told me it sucked, so I didn't watch it.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna be. You don't
It
want
was
to know.
probably you. It was probably you. You told me it sucked, and so I was like,
Don't watch
no.
the end.
Okay.
Do you want me to tell you what happens?
After or right now.
Spoiler alert! If you don't want to know what happens in How I Met Your Mother, skip forward 15 seconds.
Or hit mute if
They-
you're watching on live.
In the last season and a little bit of the other final season, they
Yeah.
introduce you to a lovely, wonderful woman.
Okay.
Who they then kill off.
What?
And then the whole point of the show was that Ted was explaining all this stuff to his kids because he just wanted to hook up with Robin.
Are you serious?
And at the end of the show, they kill off the mother, and he goes and is with Robin.
You know, that makes sense because Ted's the worst.
Yeah, well, yes.
Ted is the worst.
Ted's the worst, but I was more upset with the creators of the show. 'Cause
Yeah.
I'm like, why are you introducing me to this person only to have them die horribly?
That's horrible.
Yeah.
Jewel says that she watched the first episode of She-Hulk last night and barely got through it and almost barfed. So apparently She-Hulk's not that great.
Almost
Yikes.
barfed because it was bad or because it was gross. Keep an eye out for that message because I want to know.
All right.
The Resort, Daniel. What platform?
I'm going to say Netflix.
Ooh, I'm sorry. You're incorrect. It's Peacock.
Get out of here,
It is
Peacock.
a Peacock original.
Gosh dang it. I don't need Peacock coming in here trying to make things that I need to watch.
Jewel says that it was bad.
Okay.
Okay.
Bad, not gross.
Okay.
Gotcha.
I might try to fight through it. Kind of curious. A League of Their Own, Daniel. The new A League of Their Own series.
That better be good, by
with
the
Ron
way.
Swanson in it.
Is Ron Swanson in it?
Yeah, he's the coach.
Does he play No Crying in
Possibly
Baseball?
Nick Offerman is
Well,
in it.
okay, so you have to
Yeah.
know this is not a Nick Offerman. This is not. He's also in The Resort. This is not a recreation or they're not telling the same story as the original movie. It is a new cast telling a new story in the same setting. So he's not the same character as Tom Hanks was in the movie.
Gotcha.
But he is the coach of the team. Also, I'm saying all of this. I've never watched the show. I've just heard it described. So
I'm going to say that feels It feels like an Amazon type thing. I'm gonna go with Amazon.
Prime Video is correct.
Yes.
3 for 6, Daniel. 3 to go. You're doing pretty well, I think, actually. A little better than I thought.
Dude,
you were
I'm
gonna
sorry if it's the buzzing is me. I'm two phone guy now, and it's really weird.
You
It
have
might
both
be me.
of them with you.
I need both of them with me at all times, which isn't. Well, I
sounds
guess I don't
awful.
need my personal one with me at all times.
It's so funny that you have, like, you feel insecure about being two-phone guy. When I was two-phone guy, I thought it made me pretty cool.
Really? I feel lame.
Yeah.
Was that so long ago that it was not common to have a phone at all?
It was not that long ago.
Okay.
But it was long enough ago that almost nobody had two phones.
I
Right,
bet.
okay.
Okay.
Severance, Daniel.
Oh crap! Never heard of this one.
Oh, really?
This is the first one that I'm like completely
It
blanking.
has... Oh, shoot. What's the name of the guy who plays Ben Wyatt in Parks and Rec? Adam Scott.
Adam Scott.
Adam Scott
right.
is the main character of Severance.
Okay.
It's actually a really interesting show where they...
Dude,
The-
do you have all of the services?
you
you have Peacock?
But I have more than... I get Peacock for free.
Okay.
I have more than I'm happy to admit that I have.
Gotcha.
Yeah. I also have HBO. HBO was one of the ones that I was like, I'm just going to go ahead and pay for it because they make enough stuff that I like.
Okay.
Oh, anyway, so the show is
Severance.
about a company who medically implants something into their employees' brains voluntarily
Okay.
that they are a different person when they're at home and at work, and those two separate existences have no knowledge of each other.
Sort of the opposite of two phone guy.
Yeah. Well, yes.
I'm gonna say Netflix.
Apple TV Plus. I'm sorry, Daniel. You're back under 500. 3 for 7, 2 to go. If you get them both right, you can get back up to
Jewel
over
says,
500.
too bad Daniel can't phone a friend. She knows all of these.
Dang it. I need to FaceTime her really quick.
The Boys, Daniel. What streaming service is The Boys on?
I should know this. A former coworker of mine watched it all the time.
One of the most disturbing
It's
and
bizarre.
intriguing shows I've ever seen.
Disturbing. The parts that I've seen, mostly disturbing.
Yeah. I like the show.
That doesn't shock me at all. I think I told you about the show.
You did. Well, you showed me a clip of the show that was funny.
That's true.
And I was like, oh, I'm going to check out that show. And then I watched an episode and I texted you and I was like, oh, I watched that show. And you were like, I didn't recommend that to you. I was just showing you a funny clip.
That's on Amazon, isn't it? Amazon Prime?
Prime Video is correct.
There we go.
You are 4 for 8. If you get this last one right, Daniel, you can be over 500, which I would say is something you should be proud of.
Cougar Zone?
Coug Zone.
There we go. Okay.
If you get it wrong, Husky Zone.
Oh,
Wow.
barf.
That's a big
This
swing.
is a high-pressure situation.
Ozark, Daniel. What streaming platform does Ozark on?
This is one I feel like I should know.
This show's been around for a while.
Right. That's why I feel like I should know it, but I...
It's one of those ones, though, that I feel like they waited forever between seasons, to the point where I watched the first season and kind of liked it, but it took so long for the next season to come out, I was like, I'd have to rewatch that whole first one, and too much of it happened in a strip club, and I'm not going to go through that again.
Right, yeah. I was kind of hoping that you were going to use Stranger
Spoiler
Things
alert.
at some point, and that's kind of a similar situation, right? Like, I haven't watched the last season of Stranger Things because it took forever since the last...
I will watch
Season.
every episode of every season of Stranger Things. I love that show. I see that to me that was the difference with Ozark is it was just I liked it but I didn't love it.
Gotcha. And you loved Stranger Things.
Oh yeah. The new season of Stranger Things is really good.
Okay. That's good. Okay, that's good to know. So I got Stranger Things. What was the other thing I needed to watch?
Ted Lasso.
No. No, there was one on Hulu. What was like the first one? It was on Hulu.
Only Murders in the Building.
Right. Okay. So Only Murders in the
Jewel
Building.
says that one's okay.
Which one?
Only Murders.
Oh,
Okay.
I like
She
it.
says Ted Lasso is king.
Ted Lasso's better.
Okay.
I like Only Murders.
But I already have Hulu. I don't have the other thing. So I'm gonna say Ozark is on Netflix. Gonna keep guessing it till I get it.
Coug Zone, baby! Yes! 5 for 9. Champion of the night, Daniel Hargrove.
Let's go.
And that
Yeah, Getting emotional, not gonna lie.
That dramatic victory for Daniel will lead us into a break. But first, I want to just say we're going to talk about local sports. There's a couple of players that we didn't get to talk about with Daniel because we weren't together. I want to bring those kids back up so we can talk about them together. We're going to name an Ole Penn Real Estate Athlete of the Week and I'll talk a little bit about the football jamboree that happened on Friday, right on the other side of this commercial break. Do you have a legal situation and need someone on your side? Let the law office of Jeffrey A. Damashevitz be your advocate. If you've been the victim of medical malpractice, suffered a personal injury, or need representation with real estate law, small business law, or estate planning, let Jeff Damashevitz put his 29 years of experience to work for you. Call Jeff Damashevitz today at 360-612-3991 or visit damashevitzlaw.com. That's DAMASIEWICZLAW.com.
Thank you again to our sponsors, the law office of Jeffrey Damashevitz.
No relation.
What's the A stand for? And Ole Penn Real Estate. The sponsor of our Ole Penn Real Estate Athlete of the Week. Is that where we're at?
Yeah.
We didn't answer the question. We had a question here.
Yeah.
So we got two candidates.
Yeah.
We got Joel Dublanko.
Yeah.
Big game.
Yeah.
12 tackles.
Yeah.
Vast defense.
Yeah.
Half a sack. Quarterback hit.
Yeah.
Great game.
Yeah.
And we got Beast Bode.
Yeah.
One of our fan favorites. Or one of our favorites as I'm knocking stuff over. Who did Beast Bode get it for the Little League World Series? Or the Wiffle Ball World Series? It wasn't a World Series. For the Wiffle Ball Young Life Tournament, that's what it is.
I couldn't decide what to do there. And
The
also,
Wiffle Ball World Series was the old Wiffle Ball game at your house.
there was a little bit of conflict over rules and pitch speed and stuff, and I decided I wanted to leave it alone instead of perpetuating something that could potentially make other people upset by going publicly.
I
out
think
with it.
the way the rules were set up of that tournament, I wasn't there, so I will bombard these people who are complaining. I will
It wasn't there, so
bombard.
he doesn't care.
Bombard.
Yeah.
The rule was what, 75%?
Yeah.
You have no idea how hard Beast Bode can throw.
So-
Don't think that he wasn't throwing 75%.
I started to create a graphic
Like, come
to
on.
name Beast Bode the Ole Penn Real Estate Athlete
yeah,
of the Week.
you should have.
And then I thought to myself, because I went and I trolled in some messages pretty hard.
Yeah,
in
you
some of
did.
these groups.
It was pretty good.
And I never know what percentage of people understand that most of what I say is tongue in cheek.
Yeah.
And my thought was like,
never
I don't
know.
care at all if people think I'm a jerk.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to put something forward that could potentially make people like give Bode a hard time.
Yeah.
Because he didn't deserve it. He
Huh.
even asked me at one point, "You think I'm throwing too hard?" And I was like, "No, just watch the way you throw when you're pitching against kids. Everything's fine."
Yeah.
We played against teams, and some of the teams didn't think he was throwing too hard at all.
Yeah.
And if there was one that if they thought he was throwing too hard, they didn't say anything.
Yeah.
But anyway, I digress because people don't care about our
And-
wiffle ball beefs.
Yeah, exactly. And so the thing is, for next year,
Yeah.
if at all possible, there will be a radar gun.
There's been some.
If at all possible.
Yeah.
Because if you have a percentage of how hard you can throw, I mean, I'm
incredibly
sorry.
subjective.
It's incredibly subjective. And also, my brother can throw really friggin' hard. So 75% from him is going to be a heck of a lot more than you're going to want to face.
And if I'm pitching, I better be allowed to pitch as hard as I freaking can because it's going to be at like upper 50s.
Exactly.
Well, have no fear, people, because we will be putting together a committee and probably a subcommittee.
Yeah.
And then that
An
subcommittee will
exploratory
have multiple
committee.
subcommittees.
I was a little
to
annoyed.
discuss and
Yeah.
implement rules
Yes.
for, and we can take it off of the plate of the organizer of the tournament,
Yes.
who's literally trying to juggle 1,000 balls at the same
when
time.
somebody like threateningly,
figurative
like
sense.
quote unquote threateningly was like, well, I'll put you in charge of the rules committee. You know what my response to that was? Yes, please. That's right up my alley.
Yeah.
You know why? Because my family is the best at finding every loophole and exploiting
He's
it. And then people get upset at us for it, and we're like, "That wasn't in the rules."
And then you're
they
like,
get mad at us
Hargrove.
for it. And then they're like, "Oh, you must be a Hargrove," and I'm like, "You mean someone who follows the rules?" Yes.
We don't break the rules. We just bend them. We bend them as far as they can go without them.
We use them to our advantage.
by bending them.
Do we bend them? Or do we just follow
Just
them
take advantage
explicitly?
Do we just take advantage of the fact that the people that made the rules hadn't dealt with us before?
Anyway,
That might be it.
long story
Okay.
short, no, we did not name Bode the athlete of the week after
Okay,
that.
so I know what Joel did. I do not know the stats on what Bodie did. So
Okay, so
hit
what,
me with that.
the reason I put Bode down here is because from the football jamboree, and
Yeah.
I watched a lot of these teams, and I was thinking if there's a standout athlete from them, I watched Montesano score 6 touchdowns, and Bode scored 3 of them.
Nice.
So that felt to me like athlete of the week potential.
What position does he play?
He is playing wide receiver and also cornerback.
Okay, nice. I mean,
He's good at both.
3 touchdowns in a jamboree sounds good enough for me.
Yeah, a couple of them deep bombs. Yeah. So
So I'm going with Bodie on this one.
Bode Polar.
Yeah. And hopefully next week we have news about Joel Dublanko making the team.
Yeah. Then he can be athlete of the week. Ooh, we got football on Friday.
Yeah.
Got high school football.
Oh,
on
yeah.
Friday.
We got the Aberdeen Hoquiam game, Monty Black Hills. Do you know who Elma's playing?
Someone. And probably.
Dude, you know what's funny? Now that I'm working down in Lewis County. Yeah. Sorry, I just had to process that for a second.
Yeah.
I met the kid who was the start kid. He's not a kid anymore, but he was the starting quarterback for Morton White Pass, the team that beat Raymond at the Tacoma Dome that I went and broadcast. Apparently, they went to the championship game. Morton White Pass did 3 years in a row and lost in the title game every year.
Ooh.
Brutal.
Brutal.
They went undefeated his junior and senior year until the title games.
Brutal.
That sucks.
According
Anyway.
to Max Preps, which we've discussed before, isn't always accurate.
Right.
But according to Max Preps, on the 9th, Elma will play their first game against Cascade Christian. At Cascade Christian.
Ooh, that's a tough first game.
Wait. I'm sorry. Home.
Yeah, home
They will
against
be- they will
Cascade Christian.
host
at
Cascade
Cascade
Christian.
Christian.
Okay. And then Monty's at Black Hills. Hoquiam and Aberdeen are playing against each other. Sadly at Olympic Stadium
Yeah.
because I drive by Stewart Field every now and then and it still doesn't look like a
There's
field.
not a field there.
And that's really sucky.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm going with Beast Bode.
Beast Bode. Well, congratulations, Bode Polar, for your performance in the Jamboree. You are our Ole Penn Real Estate Athlete of the Week. So now let's talk a little bit about that Jamboree that had a few of our local teams in it. It was unquestionably Montesano that looked the sharpest. I think if you, talk to some of their coaches, they would say, hey, we got a lot of young guys. And it's preseason. We got a lot of young guys, and we've got a long way to go, and we're not where we want to be. But you got to be happy with scoring 6 touchdowns and allowing 0. I think you got to feel pretty good about that, especially with how hard touchdowns were to come by for all these teams, all these varsity teams playing. I think there was a couple of big standouts for me outside of Bode, which I already mentioned 3 touchdowns. Caleb Ames, who is another receiver for Montesano, played extremely well. He is not only really good at he's tall and long and fast, and he can get out and go get the ball, but he's also really strong and tough to bring down. He made a play where with the ball in his hands, he ran through some defenders down the left sideline and then lunged forward full extension to get the nose of the ball over the goal line. And I took a picture of it, and like when you do that lunge move, how hard it is to keep a knee or a hip or an elbow from hitting the ground. He did it in a way where it was like flat ball over the goal line, like everything hit the ground at the same time.
Nice.
So he did it perfectly. The referee made a good job making the right call on that one, calling it a touchdown. I think Caleb Ames is definitely a player to watch. We didn't get to see a lot of Ethan Blundred, which is Montesano's halfback. I think I watched a lot of him in JV last year, and he is fast and strong and explosive, and I think you're going to see a lot of him making big impact plays for Monty. And Jaden McElravy,
Is he number 11?
yeah,
He does not look like the same kid from last year.
transformation.
I saw some pictures that you posted on Facebook. I didn't recognize him.
Yeah. He lost, and you have to understand too, like it's not like Jaden was overweight.
No.
But he made a conscious decision in the off season. I'm going to trim down and become as explosive and fast as I can. And he lost a bunch of weight. He is trim, and he has he was shifty to a point last year and really hard to bring down.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you're going to see, I think, a different version of Jaden this year because he has become an explosive runner with a lot of speed, acceleration, and quickness. And in addition to what I assume will be an improvement on his passing consistency, because he had some really good games and made a lot of really good passes last year. It was just there was a little consistency issues here and there. Having it been his first year as the starter for varsity, so now he'll have an opportunity to have. He had an off season to fine tune those skills. I would say he looked decisive. And that was a big thing in the jamboree was there wasn't hesitation. It never looked like he didn't know what to do. He was taking the snap. He knew exactly where he wanted to go. He wanted to do. He made those decisions quickly. So I think definitely a good showing for Montesano there. As far as Hoquiam goes, everyone who was paying attention knows last year was a really, really rough year for Hoquiam. Didn't pick up any wins until I think they played
very late.
They played a game that was like after the season was over. They played against another team, and they got a win there. They had really low turnout. They had, I believe, only 2 seniors or something like that. So,
and I think they were both hurt for most of the year.
Right. So last year was a really tough year for Hoquiam. When I watched at the summer scrimmages in Tumwater, I was kind of encouraged by what I saw. It was a little bit more competitive. I thought they had some skill position players who could make some things happen. At least as far as when they played against Montesano in the jamboree, there wasn't much encouraging. They did complete a couple of passes, a couple of short to medium range passes. But in total, in 10 plays, probably gained about 20 yards and then threw a pick on the last play. And then defensively just could not keep up with how much speed Monty had at all their skill positions. So I don't want to say that that's going to be a forecast for how things are going to happen this season. Maybe they learned a lot from that jamboree, but it wasn't much encouraging there for Hoquiam. As far as Elma goes, I watched them play in the Montesano game, and it was, I would say, a very similar result to when Monty played Hoquiam, except offensively Elma struggled more than Hoquiam did. Just not being able to, create holes on blocks, missed a couple of open receivers, or maybe opens to they missed a couple of receivers who would have had a chance to make a play on the ball.
Yeah.
And then defensively, again, just couldn't keep up with the speed. But when Elma played against Rochester, I think that was actually the first scrimmage of the day. No, it was the second scrimmage. Anyway, it doesn't matter. They played against Rochester, and they were pretty stout defensively. They really made the Warriors work to get down the field. And then the last play, they held them out of the end zone on a goal line stand on what I thought was a really impressive stand for Elma after, 10 plays of just pounded in a few yards at a time, and then they held them at the end. Offensively, they still didn't get much going, but at least there was that positive sign.
I've also heard about, because Aberdeen played in a jamboree.
In Ording.
Yeah, yesterday, I believe. Mm-hmm. And I heard that I talked to one of the younger players, freshman, and he said it didn't go well for the freshmen in JV, but it went very well for the varsity. So that's all the information I know there.
Yeah.
But he said it went well, and I believe Ording was there, Eatonville was there, and I can't remember the other teams that were there.
It was Onalaska. It was Ording, Eatonville, Aberdeen, Onalaska, which is, to me, is such a weird combination.
A very odd mix.
Because, Eatonville makes sense. They're 1A, but they're a really good 1A.
Yeah.
Aberdeen's a good 2A. Was Ording 2A or 3A?
I want to say they're 2A, but I'm not positive.
And then Ani is a B school.
Yeah. So, but a good B school, usually.
Yeah, I think that when my understanding is when Aberdeen played against Onalaska, they didn't play their varsity starters the whole time. They played them for just a few plays, and then they were using that as a way to mix in some of the backups. I do know that Jeremy Sawyer scored a 40-yard touchdown on the first play of that scrimmage. And there was some more stuff that I got on that, but I don't remember if there was much that was really significant. But I did get some notes from someone I know who's an Aberdeen fan about some players to watch for. Some of these guys we know. Some of them I hadn't heard of before.
Yeah.
But Cale Goings will be the returning starter at quarterback. He's also a linebacker. And it's very possible that we could see Aberdeen throw a lot more this year. Mm-hmm. They've been... traditionally, the last couple of years has been a real double wing, almost all run plays.
Run, really put it in a phone booth and grind it.
Right. Another player to watch for is Trey Anderson,
yes,
which is someone we know.
Yep.
I would expect Trey, especially seeing that we already witnessed him having a big impact on games, I would expect to see Trey be a main weapon on offense along with Jeremy Sawyer. Marcus Bell is a linebacker, and Jabron Brooks at 6'5", 325 pounds.
Yeah. We're expecting big things from that big man.
Yeah, now as a junior, I assume last year he played a lot of defense and couldn't really get on the field on offense too much, but I would expect that you'll see a lot of him. Paul Baltazar will be helping anchor the offensive line.
Also a really big guy.
6'5", 265. And a junior anchoring the offensive line. Mason Sorensen was second-team All-League at guard last year and will play guard and might mix in at tight end as well. A couple of new names to watch for. One is Aiden Watkins, and I have on Twitter seen some of Aiden Watkins' highlights, and I think that kid could really make some stuff happen. He'll be playing receiver and some corner. And Marcus Hale, as a sophomore, looking at tight end and linebacker, a player that even as a sophomore will be physical enough to be able to make some things happen there.
Coached him a bit in baseball. That does not surprise me. He was a stud catcher for us and a leader type player. Mm-hmm. So as a sophomore, it's not surprising to me.
I think if you're gonna go watch an Aberdeen game, at least for me, the guys I would be keying on, like Cale Goings, definitely if they're gonna throw more. I expect to see a lot from Trey Anderson and Jeremy Sawyer.
Yeah. And hopefully this doesn't hurt their season, but I heard they had some injuries during some of their preseason practices that could be very frustrating down the road because a football season is a bunch of attrition. And so even if those players were just depth players or if they were starters, either way, I mean, that's really harsh to hear about. So
it's really tough because...
And one of the kids was in summer who was a freshman who I coached in baseball and was just an athletic freak. And even though he was a freshman, he might actually have helped out on varsity this year. So that really bums me out.
Yeah. So we talked about the Aberdeen field issue at one point on our show. Doesn't seem like much has changed. They've been pretty steadfast from the beginning that the Hoquiam game is a no-go. The other game they were concerned about is the Montesano game. And there's been, they're trying to put pressure on the right people, and maybe they could get the Montesano game at Stewart Field, and that was a possibility, but it doesn't seem like there's been anything definitive one way or the other. But in the meantime, not only was that field their home field that they play games on, it's also their practice field.
Yep.
So there's a little field that's connected to it off to the side by those apartment buildings.
Field is generous. Is very generous for what that is.
Holes everywhere.
Yes.
It's a horrible field.
Yep.
And they had several injuries, though I couldn't speculate about the seriousness of those injuries. I know that they had a handful of knee and ankle injuries that were related to the holes out there, and to the point where somebody told me that they looked at the field and it looked like they were marking the field with cones. Like it was so bad that they were putting cones out in the spots on the field that there were holes. Jeez. So not only has this affected their season as far as like being able to play all their home games on their home field, including their biggest rivalry game, which is Hoquiam, it also has affected them that they're not going to be able to. They haven't even been able to practice on their turf. They've been practicing on a crap field.
They're gonna feel so fast.
Dude, it's so frustrating. That's so frustrating. That's
It is,
just
especially the injuries, because there was that handful of injuries was over like a day and a half of practicing. Like it wasn't like, oh, after 2 weeks it was really fast.
that's brutal.
Yeah.
Is that all we got for football? I mean,
think-
it's a pretty good preview.
I think let's call an audible here and say we still need to talk about McKynnlie and Ethan Morrill.
Yes, I'm excited
But we have one more commercial break to do, and then I want to ditch mailbag because I think we've gone kind of long on a lot of this other stuff.
Yeah.
So let's do a commercial break, and then on the other side of this, we're going to talk about Montesano's McKynnlie Dalan and Aberdeen's Ethan Morrill.
At Ole Pen Real Estate, we have solidified our foundation on 4 core values. First, we continuously focus on growing our knowledge in the market and in our practices to bring the highest level of competency to our clients. Second, we provide a high level of integrity, compassion, and kindness in every aspect of our business. Third, we put the human element above business through humor, enthusiasm, and patience. And last but not least, we proactively respond to the needs of our clients. Our mission is to create a personal real estate experience, one person and one home at a time. With Ole Pen, it's personal.
Welcome back to the Scrimmage. I am Justin Damashevitz. My co-host Daniel Hargrove is here with us, and our trusty producer Andrew Gross. Thank you to those of you who stuck with us, even though we had a little bit of a technical difficulty earlier in the show with the computer crashing. We are back. We are on. We are streaming. Appreciate those who are watching. We are brought to you by Ole Pen Real Estate and the law office of Jeffrey A. Damashevitz. Daniel, there was...
What's the A stand for?
No relation. Yeah. Daniel, we had a couple of things happen in weeks that you and I weren't together, and I found myself saying things a lot like, dang it, I wish Daniel was here so we could talk about this thing in particular, because we had 2 athletes, local athletes, who committed to go play college sports somewhere else. One who has already graduated actually a couple years ago, and is now getting like a second rejuvenation to his football career.
So cool.
And another who still has another year of high school to go, but has already committed to a Division I school for basketball. So let's start with Ethan Morrill.
Okay.
An Aberdeen running back. You know, we ran through a lot of the stats. He had a really, really impressive senior campaign, which was a surprise senior campaign because he wasn't the starter at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, I think we watched him in the Aberdeen-Hoquiam game.
Yeah.
And I remember, I think he came in second or third quarter. Mm-hmm. And it was like, who is this guy and why hasn't he been playing the whole game?
Running all over people.
It was like beast mode in a high school game.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
So he went on to have an incredible season, which I hope I don't misquote the stats, but it was something like 1,500 yards and 14 touchdowns or something like that. Crazy stats, including a game where he rushed for 300 yards and 5 touchdowns and a half.
Yeah.
The kid was absolutely incredible. And he is now going to play football at Central Washington University. So, Daniel, you got a chance to watch him and cover him. So what do you think translates in Ethan's game to the next level playing college football?
Well, I think that while he was the type of runner that ran through people at high school, you know, he was a tough tackle. And I think that will benefit him at that level. Probably not as much as what he did after that. So I think at that level, it's his speed and his quickness that will really serve him well. But the determination, you can't lose that. Like, a lot of breaking tackles and gaining yards after contact and falling forward is just your will to not stop when you come into contact with people. So while I don't know what size he's at now, but it's not like he was huge for high school, but yet he would work through people who were bigger than him constantly. And so I think that that's not going to change at all. So I think that he'll still be someone who will surprise a lot of people with his yards after contact and with breaking tackles, just with the violence of the style of which he runs. And yet I think that his speed and quickness will probably be his best asset at that level.
Another thing about Ethan that I think is probably appealing to his college coaches is that in the couple of years that he wasn't playing, he went and helped coach running backs at Aberdeen High School.
Yeah.
So now he's been on both sides of this. He's a great kid.
Yeah.
You won't find anybody who has bad stuff to say about him.
Yeah, Ethan's awesome.
So I think, not only congratulations to Central because you got a guy who can go out and make an impact on the field, but you got a good dude to add to your locker room.
Absolutely. Yeah, really excited. And, Central's been a great spot for local kids to go to.
Maybe Ethan will go be a CFL great.
Maybe.
One of the greatest CFL players of all time, like Adam Bighill.
Yeah, could be.
See what happens.
Yeah, it's a good spot to start.
The other one, Daniel, is McKynnlie Dalan. And I know this one's kind of an emotional one for you, which is why I was really bummed that we weren't together to talk about this at the time, because you covered that last Montesano playoff run that ended devastatingly with all kinds of injuries and horrible stuff happening to the Bulldogs, and McKynnlie was courageous at the end of that season. So I'm not going to talk anymore.
I'm getting emotional, not going to lie.
That was from a football game.
Yeah.
I never sent you what the end of that Montesano basketball season was.
Which
was probably why.
It was worse.
I saw a picture of it.
You saw a picture of it where I'm like literally in tears.
Yeah.
It was bad. It was not good. My bias was showing pretty hard there. And McKynnlie was in the middle of that, right? So when I first saw this and when you posted it on our Facebook page, I shared it, and I think I said something like, grit and perseverance don't begin to describe what this girl is and what she's done over the last 3 years. I'm getting emotional just thinking about it right now. Mm-hmm. So as a freshman, she comes in and she's this hyped up phenom. And did she break her wrist that first year?
I thought it was a back end. I don't remember.
And the back injury was the second year.
Oh, okay.
And then the third year, she has a knee injury that I don't think I'm revealing anything. She had to get surgery after the season. I'm not going to talk about what exactly the knee injury was, but let's just put it this way. We would not have been playing sports, like golf, let alone basketball at a state level with this injury.
I would have been sitting on the couch getting served soup on a tray.
Exactly. And she was like, no,
So
this
normal.
is... Yeah. She was like, no, this is my team. I have some senior teammates on this squad. I'm going to go play through this injury. I think she had conversations with doctors, and she was like, hey, can this get worse? And again, it's just like, our brains don't even think like that. Like, oh, no, I'm done. That sucks. But no, she has just the fact that she has worked through every season of having an injury problem like this. I relate, maybe one of the reasons why I get so emotional about it is because I relate to it on an injury front, because I've had so many injuries going through it. But her perseverance and grit to come back and to come back better every year. I mean, this year, I know that Paige Leisherness won the MVP. I personally think that should have been McKynnlie Dalan. What she did on the court during the regular season was amazing, and I was absolutely shocked. And I think that one of the most important things is she is the type I'm excited about, because you see an injury happen like that and you're like, what does that do? Like, I don't know. Will that harm her future? Will it harm her future that she played on it? Will it be better for her future? I don't know what all of that stuff entails. All I know is that coming into the season, I knew that she was supposed to be good. And then leaving that season, I was one of her biggest fans. And the same with Paige Leisherness, because she snapped her ankle.
You're just saying that so she won't beat you up.
Yeah, that she might beat me up anyway. But she snapped her ankle in the state tournament and played the next day.
Yeah.
Like those two girls, I can't even.
If they had won the state title, it would have been turned into a movie.
It would have, yeah, exactly. Instead, they played Lyndon friggin' Christian.
Oh, Lyndon Christian.
Yeah, Lyndon. And I'm sorry. No, I'm not gonna. The Paige injury was downright dirty.
Yeah, it was.
It was.
Yeah.
It was.
That was an overreaction.
No, it wasn't.
Which part? No.
Yeah, it was dirty.
Okay.
Yeah.
Lyndon Christians.
That wasn't Lyndon Christian though.
It was still Lyndon Christian.
Anyway,
Lewis.
so I hope I didn't pontificate too much there, but I'm so excited. I'm so excited that McKynnlie's going to go play D1 basketball. That's awesome.
Daniel, I spent. This is another pivot.
Okay.
I spent,
Good, because I need to get away from it before I get too emotional.
I spent an entire work day with one-on-one with someone who lives in Lewis County, and
This is a big pivot.
my because I don't know if I just didn't care or if I have some kind of a lack of actual self-awareness.
Yeah.
I
Both.
just spent the entire first 2 hours listing all the reasons I hate Lewis County. I was like, here's why where you
another
live
reason.
sucks.
And another reason.
Anyway, I just needed to tell you that. I
How did
could have
that
waited
go?
until the show was over.
Yeah.
But it was fine.
It was fine.
He's a good dude.
Is that going to do it for the show today?
Yeah, I think so.
I think you're right. All right.
So for my co-host Daniel, I deleted Russell Wilson on all of my socials. Hargrove.
I did.
an overreaction.
Could have been. And for my co-host, Justin,
So many things.
I would be shocked.
I was being
Shocked.
a jerk. I was being a jerk. Domashevitz.
That's all the time.
Yeah.
And for our trusty producer, is he so trusty though? Because the computer crashed.
The computer's not trusty.
You've been listening to the scrimmage.
Andrew Gross. I forgot to say the name.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, bye.